And thank you to Menachem Rotstein, Professor Menachem Rotstein, a longtime member of Beth Tikvah, together with his wife, Nechama, and also a professor at college universities Concordia and Hebrew College in Boston for close to 50 years.
Exactly.
So this is a real treat to have a rare scholar with us tonight, and it's wonderful to have you, Menachem.
Thank you, Rabbi. Thank you.
I hope that at some time in the future we can talk more about your scholarship. But tonight, as we can see from your shirt, we are talking about a very, very difficult subject. And indeed, it was a difficult week to get the reports from Israel about some of the hostages whose lives were taken by the terrorists. And it's only been a couple of days since we heard that news. But you're going through your own journey with this October 7th war.
Unfortunately, imposed upon us.
Please tell us about this shirt and what it means to you, to Nechama, and to other people all over the world, in Canada and in Israel.
Well, unfortunately, I wish I did not receive this gift. But in June 2nd of this year, on June 2nd, my wife and I joined two of our daughters in New York for a march in support of Israel and in support of the families of the hostages. And two members of the delegation of about 80 Israeli families who came were directly related to us. They are the grandchildren of my first cousin, Yael Sobol, and they grew up in Liran Berman was one of four children, and the eldest of four children. His two youngest brothers were kidnapped. Their names are Gali and Ziv Berman. They were taken by force, forcefully taken from their rooms on the kibbutz where they had grown up. At the time, they were 26 years old. They're now nearing their 27th birthday. And the families came to New York in order to get the support of the American Jewish community and the community at large. And they brought these shirts with them, along with some caps with the emblazoned with the names of individuals. So the brother Liran and his aunt Maccabit, who carries a rather illustrious tradition, were representing the Berman family. And we met them in person for the first time since the events of October 7th. And we were greeted. We embraced them. We cried. We felt their pain, and we were able to catch up with them in person and hear their story and their plight. I will tell you about a fund that the family has set up, but that's the background.
And these cousins of yours, they've been held hostage since that day, since that fateful day.
Nothing has been heard from them since their capture. They are twins. They are twins, inseparable twins. But the stories that came back from some of the captives who had been released back in November, if I'm not mistaken, was that they were separated in captivity. And their fate remains unknown entirely. We are all praying and hoping that they are well enough to be returned to their families. But in the time being, it's the families who are enduring a tremendous amount of strain, both physical, emotional, and financial. And this is the reason why other members of the family, cousins in New York and in Toronto, have set up this GoFundMe.
Yes.
The man behind them is a member of Beth Tikvah, a long-standing member, Alan Sheff, whom many of our members know well and know how much he has done for the community. So now he has taken upon himself to create this fund that will reach out to as many people as possible. And I hope that the synagogue is going to join the effort by perhaps posting the fund and the link to the fund and be able to see the story. There are videos of the twins, and there are stories of their friends, family, to learn more about who they are.
Yes. Now, did you say that they were twins?
They are twins. They
Wow.
are twins, Gali and Ziv.
And where did they grow up in which
So they grew up on a kibbutz very close to the border of Gaza. The kibbutz is called Kfar Aza. If I may just give you a little bit of background, this kibbutz was founded initially in 1951 by Olim, immigrants from Egypt and Morocco. And about 3 years after its founding, it was abandoned and then reestablished again in 1955. The parents, who are Doron and Talia, Doron Berman and Talia Sobol, decided to move to the kibbutz as young people and to establish and have a family there. And in fact, the father Doron was in charge of the agricultural element of the kibbutz. The kibbutz is never numbered over 800 people, but yet there's a school there, an elementary school, and a synagogue. And the father Doron worked for many years there until he succumbed to a debilitating illness due to the presence of Agent Orange in the fertilizer that was used in the kibbutz. And as a consequence, he became completely disabled. He's 100% disabled, and he's more or less on 24/7 watch by caretaker. The sad story is that this disabled father, his wife Talia, and their Romanian caretaker were in the safe room of their home for many hours. I've heard 8 hours, as many as 12 hours, until they were freed later that night and taken 50 kilometers away to a kibbutz where Talia's sister lives, called Bet Govrin. And that's where they are to this day.
Yes. And the twins were taken from that kibbutz that day?
They were forcefully taken from the kibbutz. There were many victims in the kibbutz. I cannot remember the exact number, but there were many who were murdered on the kibbutz. And along with Gali and Ziv, there is, I believe, a young woman who was also kidnapped and is still held in captivity.
Amazing.
So the family has been living on kibbutz Bet Govrin. The kibbutz has hosted them and has provided them for housing. But at the moment, or for the past few months, their thoughts have been with the two boys and their return, hopefully to back. I believe they have decided that they will not return to Kfar Aza. The kibbutz Kfar Aza has been damaged almost beyond recognition from visitors who have seen it, and so going back there carries too many negative, sad memories.
Sure.
So they will hopefully rebuild, and part of the the funds that will be collected will go to rebuilding 2 housing units, apartments, essentially, for the boys and furnishing them so that they will be able at least to have somewhere to start a new life.
Yes. Now, Alan Sheff was living in Dollard at once upon a time.
Many years. All his children went to Hebrew Foundation School, and they were very active members. He and his wife Amy, who is a cousin of mine through my mother. Both my mother and Amy's father were first cousins, and
Okay.
so it's we part of the reason why my family decided to come to Montreal from Boston was because we did have family here
Yes.
already, and they helped us greatly in our klita, the absorption, basically, and integrating into the community.
Yes.
And I think it was Alan who also convinced us to come to live in DDO.
Amazing. And now he and his family are in Toronto.
Well, they have 2 daughters who 2 married daughters who live in Toronto, and a son, Jordan, who lives in New York City.
Okay.
So since their children are no longer in the community, they made the decision, like many other families that we know, who to be closer to the children.
Yes. So Alan is the person who's behind the GoFundMe page for Ziv and Gali.
That's correct, and it was only launched just before Shabbat. I received a call from Alan informing me that the fund is open, and that he's hoping that it will be widely disseminated, spread out, and people will become more aware of it, and will consider making any contribution, any size contribution is obviously welcome.
Of course, of course. This is, you talked about klita, absorption. We're one nation. We're Am Echad, and we all try to do what we can to help the others, wherever they might be. And it could be Jews in Israel, it could be Jews in France, it could be Jews in Yemen. Who knows what? But we all try to do what we can. So I'm so.
I can add here that 2 of my daughters, as I mentioned earlier, live in Park Slope in Brooklyn, and as of December, around Hanukkah, they both were able to rally their synagogue, a synagogue called Beth Elohim on Park Slope, to launch a campaign on behalf of Kfar Aza, not directly for the Berman family, but for the entire community. And the launch was on the first night of Hanukkah. And none other than the governor of New York, Kathy Hochul, was there to help the launch. And it's been extremely successful, and people have committed a great deal of funds for the rehabilitation of Kfar Aza. So I think if people are interested, of course, they can read up and find out more about Kfar Aza. I would like also, with your permission, to say something about the twins from what I've learned. I never met them in person, unfortunately. In my previous visits to Israel, we tended to stay close to the greater Tel Aviv, where the Hamas family lives.
Sure.
And I regret it. I regret not having seen the kibbutz in its heyday, when it was really a haven. And they talk about it as a little Gan Eden, miniature Gan Eden, a wonderful place to raise children. And the twins worked on one of the industries of the kibbutz was a sound and light company that produces all of the major concerts and events, public events in Israel. A company called Syncopa. And Gali and Ziv worked in the kibbutz and traveled throughout the country, and that's why they are very well known by all of the major entertainers in Israel. They were also huge fans of Maccabi Tel Aviv, and the team has put on a number of events in their honor. And many of the major entertainers in Israel have also featured them as part of their shows, having met them during the sessions whenever they were entertaining, whether it was in a large venue like the amphitheater in Caesarea or in smaller concert halls, but all over the country. They seem to have been beloved because of their gregarious nature, because of their fun-loving uh, personalities, and they've made an impact. And you see their image even at the airport. I remember Cantor Topaz telling me that when he came into Israel and when he departed, he saw the posters with their pictures. One was on one side of the aisle, the other one was on the other side, and I believe he sent me a photograph of them. But at all the rallies, like many of the other hostages and many of the uh, men, women, elder, younger people, by now they're familiar images to many,
Yes.
many Israelis.
Well, I think it's a tribute to you, to Nechama, and to Alan, and that you're bringing it closer to us by giving it, a personal connection.
Thank you.
And I think it's
That's the
so
least we can do.
absolutely. And I hope that under your guidance we can create the environment to do more and more for Ziv, Gali, and for the whole kibbutz, like as you mentioned that they're doing in Park Slope, Brooklyn. So
Yes.
so this could be the launching, could just be the beginning of something that hopefully we hope and pray that the hostages will be safe and secured and returned and rescued shortly, but we don't know how that's going to go. But in the meantime, we could do what we can, and you, Nechama, and Alan, and the families of Ziv and Gali, we have to do what we can to rally for them.
I appreciate that very much, Rabbi. Your openness and without hesitation. I know how you've embraced this cause from the minute that I first mentioned them. And in fact, I remember giving you 5 of the hats that the brother Lee Ran left with me in New York upon my return, and I said, feel free to distribute these hats. I've been wearing them daily everywhere I go, and I've gotten a number of observations and comments from people, the bank tellers, etc. Who are these boys? And what is this about? But it's important to bring it to keep it in the foreground, to keep their plight on the foreground, to know that people should know we have Shomer Achi Anochi. We are the guardians of our brothers, wherever they might be, Batzara Vashivia. And as you've introduced, you and Cantor Topaz, the prayers on a weekly basis. People who are regular attendants at the shul know how much you have placed this issue in the front and center of the agenda.
Well,
I appreciate that.
and I thank you, Menachem. And as I mentioned, I hope that we can continue to go higher and higher in terms of our support, more and more until we see them back with their families. So let's so let's stay in contact, and we can hopefully be able to make a significant contribution to
it will be greatly appreciated. It will be greatly appreciated. I just spoke to their uncle this afternoon. I told him that our rabbi has decided to draw this to the attention of the entire community, and he was more than grateful and appreciative. So I thank you on behalf of the family. I appreciate it, Rabbi.
Thank you, and we look forward to being in touch with you to see how we can take it to the next level. Please send our best regards to Nechama, and and nihiyeh b'yachad v'nihiyeh b'kesher.
Amen. Thank you so much, Rabbi.
Thank you.